Okay, I think that we can start. So, welcome to all to this initiative that is inside the side events of the FAO Science and Innovation Forum. These days are very important for the ones that are dealing with food systems and agriculture and food chain, because a lot of things are running. The FAO Science and Innovation Forum. Next week, there will be also the World Food Forum. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today in this amazing session where we are going to face the opportunities for youth on climate smart agriculture and Agri 2.0 future. This initiative is a partnership among different organizations. Is promoted by Climate Social Forum and the Global Climate Smart Agriculture Network Italy, that is a part of the main network, Global Climate Smart Agriculture Network. We will have now the opening remarks from Nyokam Divine, that is like the founder of this network that collects agri farmers and youths that are dealing with the agriculture all over the world. But not only, there is NGO Afrique Esperance, the Poly Foundation, and Tanzania Conservation Voices. So going forward and not losing more time, I will give the floor to Nyokan Divine for an opening remark regarding this event. Then we will give the floor to our friend from NGO Afrique Esperance, Charles Balugon, and then back to Divine for his speech. So Divine, the floor to you.
Yeah, colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and greetings from Arizona. I'm so happy to be part of you. Actually, Domenico, congratulations. I mean, I'm happy that my brother Charles, who is now the focal point or the representative for the UNCCD CSO, is equally here. I mean, we can overemphasize that CSAYN has actually moved a long way. And I would want to recall here that Charles would remind you guys that he was one of the interns when he spent some time in Cameroon. He was very, very supportive back in 2-3 years ago, or 4 years, I don't know. But I'm very, very happy to see that the partnership is actually being strengthened. And we are here to ensure that the voices of the voiceless is being heard. I'm very, very delighted to actually join you guys from this end of the world. So it's very early here, as you all know, but I decided to say, let me join you guys to prove to you and to prove to us all that CSAYN has no boundary. Now we are calling from Italy, Benin, wherever you are, and I really underscore the fact that we should all share this link, put it on our profiles, let people join our status, let people join, because this is actually the platform, Esperance, the team in Italy, CSAYN Global, and other institutions together are going to change this world. We are the ones to change the world. We are the ones to actually make sure that young people, who are the agents of change today and tomorrow, should equally be at the forefront of all these high-level discussions. Now, we all recall that CSAYN was created, established somehow, because it's only the Almighty God that creates. We all come to establish, add value to what's already existing in 2014, and in DRC, Nigeria, Togo, and Cameroon. But as we speak right now, we're in more than 160 countries globally. And we have decided to set up a new strategy in the sense that early on, we were working with individuals as country coordinators, but right now, where we're speaking right now, we decided to reinvent the strategy to make sure that institutions well established at the country level that should be representing CSAYN. And of course, we've decided unanimously with the board of directors and equally partners to make sure that we set up what we call Center of Excellences globally. Because if we set up Center of Excellences, which simply means that, enhancing student-to-student mobility and lecturer to teacher or people mobility is going to be the only way for us to go. Now we are looking at the world. There are a lot of crises happening. We have the climate crisis, we have the health crisis, we have the hunger crisis, of course, which is between the Ukraine and the Russian war. I mean, I will say all of these crises are actually, and equally the conflicts that we have across the world, it's actually all this tell us down to unemployment of the young people. And that's why when I saw the theme of this session, how do we ensure that CSA actually defines a new generation framework for young people to be fully employed at the local level, community, and global level. I've always said it, and I'll keep repeating myself without no fear. Agriculture is the only sector on the planet Earth that God created, because those who read the Bible or the Quran, you're going to realize there that there was a point that the Bible, you hear that some scriptures where the land was cursed. They never said a hospital is cursed. They never said an office is cursed, but they said the land is cursed. So meaning that if the land is not sustainable, if the nutrients that need to be fed into the ground are not somehow, highly underscored, nothing going to happen. Hunger is still going to, and I know that a hungry man is an angry man. And that's what is happening on the whole world. So without employment of young people, of course, not just employment, but decent job creation is really key. That's why, of course, we commend the effort of the African Development Bank, the World Bank as well, and equally the IITA programs, the several programs we call Enable Youth. There's this job for Youth program at the bank, African Development Bank. And I think all of us have to actually join efforts to make sure that we support these endeavors. I'm very, very excited that a lot of young people, a lot of stakeholders, a lot of partners are actually part of this discussion. And I feel, and I really feel, and really recommend, strongly recommend that prior to the World Food Forum that's coming up maybe next week or so, 17th to the 21st, this should be some sort of a pre-World Food Forum, in the sense that tomorrow is the International Day for Rural Women, the International Day for Rural Women tomorrow, and then the following day, which is going to be Saturday, is a World Food Day. So you see, the aspect of food, the month of October is actually seeing how we can actually change the paradigm, making sure that the food system which was broken then, is now being transformed. And we are coming in an era where we just came out from the Food System Summit last September 21st. And I'm happy to inform us that I was one of the food system champions we actually worked towards this process, 18-month process. And some of the outcomes of this summit we came out with close to 1,000 national pathways to be implemented at the country level, together joint effort with the Rome-based agencies as well. And of course, stakeholder ministries of agriculture, ministries of youth and women affairs, and all of that in countries. So let us all understand that we are the future. I mean, let me not say the future. We are the agents of change. We have to start now, and we have to keep moving. Yeah, I'm here in the US. I've been able to establish some bilaterals with some very, very strong institutions, and making sure that all the CSAYN member states actually get the opportunity to be part of to study in the US, or maybe come back home and get things done right there. So really, I'm very, very happy. If I want to talk to you, I can talk to you tomorrow, because I'm so passionate about what I'm saying. But my last word to everyone is that let's all go back to the drawing board. Let's all go back and identify some of the challenges we've been facing back home and see how we can address them. We are the solutions of today and tomorrow and the future. And I will not end without saying, let's ensure that persons with disabilities are actually fully integrated in our agendas, meaning that they should be at the conception level of programs. Young people should be at the conception level of programs that belong to them, because any program that is being designed without a young person is not for a young person. It's against a young person. Any program that has been designed for a women, and women are not at the forefront, is against the women. Any program that has been designed for refugees or climate refugees or aging population without them, it's actually against them. That's why I say, let's try to change the paradigm. Let's make sure that right at our community level, we build back better from COVID, as we all see, to achieve the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. So let us all identify one of the SDGs. We have a challenge. We are giving us all this challenge. Let's take this target. By 2030, let's make sure that at CSAYN we achieve the SDGs. So let everyone on this call identify one of the SDGs and run with it. Run with this SDG, and so that by 2030, we can be proud to say, oh, the world is now a better place for the next generation. Thank you very much. Over to you, Domenico, Vito, and colleagues. I love you all with passion.
Thank you very much, Nyokan, for your passion and your commitment, and also your inspiring words that can open this session in the best ways. For the sake of time, as I said, we will give now suddenly the word to Charles Usiba Lugon, that has been appointed to a very important role. He will tell us about that, but he is also the founder of the NGO Africa Esperance, an NGO that is dealing, for example, with bioecology and sustainable agriculture, and he will tell about the activity that they are doing also with women, implying women in, like, for example, creating biomass and bioenergy. So, Charles, to you for your intervention. Thank you for being with us.
Okay, thank you, Vito. Can I go in French or English?
If you can, in English is better, because even though we have a lot of time in translation, so
Okay,
please.
thank you to you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for Divine. It is a pleasure for me to see my best friend, my bro, Divine. You know, when you have opportunity in a meeting and you have Divine to speak before you, you don't have a chance, because it takes all the time to talk early about. Thank you, Divine, for I appreciate your devotion. I appreciate your love for the work, the work you are doing. I remember in 2018 in Cameroon when I met him. This is a very nice moment for us. And I mean, our world means that it's a very small world now today. I have opportunity to work with him, and today we are working about the same thing. I just want to be very quick in my intervention. After the speech of Divine, in our NGO, I just want to present myself, Charles Balogun. I'm a founder of president of NGO Africa, coming from Benin. I'm now the current Africa representative in a UNCCDCSO panel. Specifically in our NGO, we are working about all the transformation with waste. We are working. We are transforming the waste in a rural community with the women. How is it possible to transform the waste in energy? Est-ce que vous m'entendez? Are you understand me?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. So specifically in a rural community with the women. So our dealing with women is how to transform all the waste, the capital waste, we transform it through the biodigester in order to have a system of energy. This gives us opportunity to evolve to cut the trees. So you know that in a rural community, the only energy source they have is to cook with woods. This brings them to destroy the environment. So when we help them to transform all the waste, the capital waste, this gives an opportunity to have a system of energy. I mean, this is a focal point in where we work with them. When we transform this waste, after the energy, we have the opportunity to have a new fertilizer for them in order to help the plantation in order to grow very well. Is it possible? Est-ce que Divine est en ligne?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oui, je suis en ligne.
Est-ce que Divine est en ligne? Bon, ce que je vais expliquer un peu en français pour que tu puisses traduire ça correctement, quoi.
Allez-y.
Bon, d'abord, je te remercie d'abord pour ton intervention. Je voudrais, à la suite de ton intervention, je voudrais me focaliser dans ce que nous faisons, qui est le plus important aujourd'hui, qui cadre un peu avec l'agriculture intelligente dont nous parlons aujourd'hui. Il s'agit aujourd'hui, il s'agit de faire en sorte de limiter les dégâts que le changement climatique nous cause. Et dans les zones rurales, en détruisant, vous savez que la seule source d'énergie dans les zones rurales, c'est le bois. Et comment faire en sorte que l'utilisation de la coupure des bois puisse être stoppée? Il faut aider les masses rurales à pouvoir avoir une autre forme d'énergie. Et donc, nous les aidons spécifiquement dans tout ce qui a comme déchets organiques, puisque nous travaillons avec les femmes qui font le manioc. Comme on appelle au Cameroun, c'est le manioc avec les bâtons de manioc. Chez nous, en Afrique de l'Ouest, c'est le gari. Et donc, vous savez combien de fois ces denrées-là sont beaucoup consommées. Et donc, pour les éviter à consommer assez de bois dans la transformation de ce manioc, donc au lieu qu'elles utilisent de bois de chauffe, nous transformons tout ce qu'il y a comme déchets organiques de manioc, tout ça dans leur environnement par le biais d'un biodigesteur pour avoir le biogaz. Et voilà, donc cette expérience a été financée par l'Institut francophone pour le développement durable qui est basé au Québec. Et donc, les effets sont là et c'est palpable. Et c'est ça que nous vendons partout. Et je pense que c'est ça aussi l'agriculture intelligente, parce que qui parle d'agriculture intelligente, c'est toute innovation qui nous conduit à ne pas détruire l'environnement, toute innovation qui nous conduit à réfléchir autrement notre manière de gérer notre environnement. C'est ça aussi l'agriculture intelligente. Et dans cette transformation des déchets organiques, nous avons le résidu dans le biodigesteur qui est comme on appelle le digestat, qui est un fertilisant biologique. Et les chiffres sont là. Quand on l'utilise pour fertiliser les sols, le rendement est beaucoup meilleur que les fertilisants qu'on importe. Et donc, voilà des innovations que nous apportons et nous sommes prêts à le vendre partout au besoin et pourquoi pas même au Cameroun, parce que le bâton de manioc se mange beaucoup au Cameroun de l'Afrique centrale. Au lieu que les gens utilisent les bois de chaux qu'on coupe, qui conduit à la déforestation, on aiderait ces femmes-là avec tout ce qu'elles ont comme déchets organiques par le biodigesteur à leur donner du biogaz pour produire leur bâton de manioc. Et le résidu sera encore un fertilisant pour les aider à faire la reforestation et à alimenter encore leur plantation. Vous m'excusez, parfois l'anglais, je suis inspiré, parfois je ne suis pas inspiré. Donc, merci de m'aider à traduire. Merci beaucoup, Viviane. Donc, je voudrais que vous m'éludiez, c'est un peu ça.
Actually, my brother, in a nutshell, the first point he wants to raise is that his organization is actually stemming the fact that people have to fell down trees to use for firewood. That's the first thing. So they are actually developing what we call, they're using renewable energy systems to make sure that the cooking stove, cooking stoves are somehow environmental friendly. That's number 2. Number 3, is equally saying that they are actually using what we call a cassava. Cassava, cassava have close to 3,000 derivatives. So he's letting us know here that this organization is adding value to cassava. In one of the main derivative of cassava, which of course is well used or eaten in Africa or on the West and Central Africa regions, what they call bobolo or bâton de manioc. It's just some of cassava that has been grounded and then put in leaves and rounded and it becomes very like a loaf. Then it's equally making us to understand that they have not left gender sensitivity out of their programs. Women are the center and priority of their programs, and he's equally making sure that they have some programs, some projects that are running on now, which is being sponsored by a Canadian institution. We're actually making sure that after doing this transformation, they make sure that the women actually create jobs for other women. They make sure that the young people actually create jobs for other young people. And then it's underscoring the fact that his institution is ready to scale up, to scale up this activity across all the African continent and beyond. That for those that are interested in such activity can contact him directly. And he's letting us know that it is equally a climate smart approach, okay? That when we're talking of climate smart agriculture, which is of course, which I wish he has given me the opportunity, so I have to talk about one point, which is of course saying that climate smart agriculture is an approach, So it's climate smart techniques that they are equally using climate smart technologies to make sure that they improve on food security, they make sure that they improve in nutrition security and creating jobs for young people. Now, I have to make it very, very clear that GCSAYN was established under the technical support of GCSA. GCSA is the Global Alliance on Climate Smart Agriculture, which is being hosted in Rome. And I'm happy to see Federica Matuelli here, who has been the coordinator for some of these, for the facilitation unit many years ago. I'm so proud to meet you, Federica. I'm happy that I've given me the opportunity to translate Mr. Charles' statement, and I'm using this to sell what the relationship we have with GCSA. And I want to say that CSAYN is what it is today. I tell people everywhere around the whole world that CSAYN is the baby boy of GCSA. And that's why each time we make sure we organize events, we make sure we bring in GCSA. And that's why I'll always commend the support you've given to us, Federica, many years ago. We've been attending annual forums because of your support on your team. We want to say that we remain indebted. And on this call, I equally see some GCSA members. Never, please share this link to everybody on the GCSA platform, because this is a very important meeting. This is a youth constituency for GCSA. And I think we are the ones to change the paradigm. We are the ones to take this, the national pathways that were established during the Food System Summit back to the front line. Now, before I hang up the call, I have one other initiative that we are working together with the Rome-based agencies. We are calling the Resilient Local Food System Supply Chain, Alliance. Resilient Local Food Supply Chain Alliance, which is actually being hosted by WFP, FAO, and IFAD. There is a joint effort and with support from the UNFDF. So I want to say that GCSAYN is one of the steering committee members for this initiative. It's a new one where young people should be at the forefront to deliver the national pathways which came out from the Food System Summit. So I want to say that on behalf of GCSAYN members, on behalf of the development partners we find here, of course, Federica, I will never forget your name, never, because you've actually impacted our lives. And here, as I say, the United States, they are very, very excited about what we are doing. Yesterday, I gave a 90 minutes lecture to some professors here at the University of Arizona, and they're very, very happy to work with us on Fit for the Future program. So I'm so happy with this. I'll give you back the floor to the moderator. Charles, thank you very much for your endless support. Merci beaucoup pour tes interventions.
You're welcome.
Tu as toujours été l'un des membres de GCSAYN très, très dévoué. Je suis très, très content de te revoir après une longue date. Je pense que nous allons vraiment continuer les efforts que nous avons eu à commencer beaucoup des années. And with this, I submit myself. I submit to you, Mr. Domenico, who is actually the country coordinator for GCSAYN in Italy. So I'm so happy that we have grown from a baby to now a mature children. Over to you, Domenico. Please, whether you have a slot for Federica or not, she has to give a statement because she's actually at the backbone of the GCSA program. So please give her that little respect. I mean, with this, I'm going to breach protocol. Federica, please, once I hang up, you have to take the floor and tell us about your work and how innovative it has been and where you are now and what you expect from us young people to push this agenda forward. Thank you very much, Federica. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, before giving the floor to Federica, I want to thank you all because also for the participant, you can see how it's important and how CSA can connect people all over the world. In this call, we have like the best personalities that are like competent in CSA. So it's an honor and a pleasure for me to have here. Yeah, Federica, if you want to make a brief statement, then let's go back on the schedule. So Federica, floor to you.
Yeah, sure. It's difficult to speak after Divine with this amazing energy that you can give us, and I think you. All of you, I want to thank all of you that supported not only GCSA, but the concept of climate smart agriculture, because from the beginning, we had the possibility to share very good approach and to make real actions to develop, to implement climate smart agriculture, thanks to you. Not only for the big organizations or institutions, but especially for the people from the field, because you are the person that can give us not only energy, but also ideas and input. And what is the real situation at the field level, we can know only because we involve people from the field to make to implement climate smart agriculture and any other concept that can help on combat climate change in agriculture. Domenico, I don't know if I can start with my presentation or later?
Just a bit. There is like two interventions, and then I will give the floor. Okay.
Okay. Thank you to all of you, and thank you for this appreciation for GCSAYN, because we had now at the moment we have almost 600 members, and this is possible only because all the members of GCSAYN make a very good statement for climate smart agriculture and spread the concept, the approach everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you to you, Federica. I will give back to you the floor in soon. For now, I will share my screen for a video contribution of the colleague Elizabeth Gulugulu, that unfortunately she cannot be with us. But now she's actually the YOUNGO focal point. YOUNGO is the constituency of youth inside the UNFCCC, and she also has been a very committed like reference person for the agricultural working group inside YOUNGO. And she will give in a glance some few hints on climate smart agriculture that then will be reinforced from the other speaker. So I will let's run the video for a few. And then let's give back floor let's give the floor back to Federica. So the floor is yours, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for the platform. Let me try. Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, and we can also see you.
Okay, that's great. So yeah, today I'll be talking about climate smart agriculture, and definitely people would want to know and hear what is climate smart agriculture, especially in the African context. How we are doing it, is it achievable, and how young people are playing their part in terms of advocating for climate smart agriculture, in terms of practice, in terms of policy formulation, and also in terms of spreading the word around on the benefits and the importance of climate smart agriculture. Next slide. Okay, first and foremost, we need to understand that agriculture is the backbone of Africa. We have good climatic conditions, we have good rainfalls, we have the land, we have good temperatures, meaning that whatever we grow on our soil, it comes out well because of all the factors that I've really mentioned above. And approximately it provides for 86% of rural people's livelihood. Most people, they are into farming. If they are not into farming, they are in the agri value chain. They could be selling their products. They could be adding value to the products themselves, which is also a component of climate smart agriculture. So climate smart agriculture sector is also, the agriculture sector is important to know that it's also contributing to approximately 24% of our greenhouse gas emissions on a global scale, which is why it is important for us to practice climate smart agriculture, because there are a lot of components that are there that are going to assist us in reducing our greenhouse gas emissions as a globe, not only paying particularly in Africa, but as a globe. Next slide. Okay, this is what I was talking about, that we have the agricultural sector, which is contributing to 24%. As you can see on this chart that is there, we have also other sectors that are contributing their own fair share of greenhouse gas emissions. But mainly from agriculture, the greenhouse gas emissions, they come from soil, the type of agriculture that we practice. The moment we dig our soils, we are opening, we are disturbing the carbon sinks, and we have carbon dioxide that is being released into the atmosphere. The fertilizers that we use, the application of fertilizers, the pesticide that we use, rice cultivations, field burning of agricultural residue. We have what we call manure management, and also what we call enteric fermentation. When ruminant animals burp, they release some sort of gases that are not good. So I thought this will be very important for us to note out where the gases in the agricultural sector are mainly coming from. Next slide. Okay, I'm sure people would want to understand what is really climate change, okay? Before we talk about climate smart agriculture, we need to understand that we have climate change. The greenhouse gases that are getting into the atmosphere, they're contributing to global warming. Global warming is resulting to climate change. And if we are talking about climate change, we're talking about a shift in weather pattern conditions over a long period of time. So some of the gases are the gases that I talked about, the carbon dioxide, the methane, the chlorofluorocarbons that get into our atmosphere, contributing to global warming resulting to climate change resulting to a whole lot of disasters, sort of like droughts, floods, heat waves, cold waves, pests and diseases, etc. Next slide. So we need to understand the effects of climate change on agriculture. First and foremost, we talked about how agriculture is contributing to, global warming itself. But now that when we have global warming, which results to climate change, we need to understand what are the effects of climate change to agriculture and how can we cope, how can we adapt to the effects that climate change is bringing into the agricultural sector. Number one of the effects is climate change has increased variability and unpredictability of weather and climate events. For example, here in Africa, we can no longer predict the rainy season because here in Africa, especially where I come from the southern part of Africa in Zimbabwe, usually you know that the rainy season is approximately maybe from October. People will be preparing their land for planting, etc. But now, because the weather, the seasons, they have shifted, and we cannot predict when exactly we should start planting, because we can start planting, but we do not get to receive the certain amount of rainfall that we are expecting. So it has resulted to a lot of, unpredictability in weather and, climatic events affecting our rainfall patterns. We're experiencing long dry periods, and we have higher or lower temperatures at times, heat waves, floods, flash floods, all these affecting our agricultural sector. Imagine if we have a flood, it means that all the crops that are in the field are going to be washed away, and it's going to affect our production. If we have heat waves or cold waves, definitely it's going to affect whatever is in our fields. And when you're looking at agriculture, you're not only looking at what is in the field, but we're also looking at our livestock. Are they going to cope with the unpredictable weather conditions that are there? It can be hot today, it will be cold today. If it's too hot, it means that we have little or no rainfall, and our animals, at the end of the day, they need water. They also need good feed. If we do not have good amount of rainfall, it means that we do not have feed for our animals. So it affects the agricultural sector, from livestock to poultry to horticulture, you can name it. There is also an increase in pests and diseases because of it's hot, it's cold, and those kind of temperature variations, they are good for pests and diseases. So at times you find out that these pests and diseases, we are not able to control them. I'll give you an example. Of course, these were not pests, but an example, what happened in Kenya, we have the desert locusts that to migrate from the desert, and they attacked people's fields. This is all because of climate change, because these desert locusts, they rely on certain temperatures, but because those temperatures, they've been altered, they are now moving from one place to another in search of food. So they move from the desert in search of water, in search of food, and they start attacking people's crops. They start attacking even our biodiversity, which means that it's also affecting our food, it's also affecting our productivity. Then there's an alteration in land suitability for agriculture production or grazing. I mentioned about this, that at times, if it doesn't rain, it affects the kind of feed that is supposed to be, that is supposed to be given to our animals. Here in Africa, we just take our livestock, our animals, they go into the bush, they eat whatever they eat. It could be the grass, it could be, whatever it is, whatever is available. But if we do not receive good amount of rainfall, it means that that grass is not there, or maybe it's there, but it's not palatable for the livestock. There is an increase in frequency and intensity of extreme weather events such as cyclones, windstorms, droughts, floods, hailstorms. Southern part of Africa and other parts of Africa, they've constantly been affected by droughts. If a country is affected by droughts, it contributes to food insecurity. Food insecurity results to national security. Because if people are hungry, they are going to demand food from their government, which means that it's now a national security, which is usually the case that we are being faced, the case in most African countries. We have issues to do with floods, cyclones. I mean, we recently had a cyclone here in Zimbabwe, that was last year, Cyclone Idai, which affected people's livestock, people's fields, even human beings, they were not spared. I talked about the pests and diseases. There is shortage of drinking and servicing water because of too much heat, little rainfall. It means that we do not have enough water for us as humans to use to water our crops that are in the field, enough water for us to give to our animals. There is also an increase in temperature as well, which affects a whole lot of things. And I talked about, the feed itself. At times, we do not have a feed of quality because of the different temperatures that we have. So it affects a whole lot of things. So those are some of the effects of climate change on agriculture. Next slide. So because we have these effects, we need to take a look at what we have versus climate change. Most of the times here in Africa, like I said when I was starting my presentation, we have good policies, very, very good policies when it comes to agriculture. We have the land. I talked about the land. We have rich soils. We have good soils. We have a good climate. I talked about this in the beginning of my presentation. But then the disadvantages, because we are saying what we have versus climate change. Then climate change, we have it's bringing about water scarcity issues. It's bringing about droughts. We are experiencing a lot of floods. We're experiencing, at times we do not have the resources, financial resources. At times we do not have, resources to assist us with research in the event that we are being affected by pests and diseases. So those are the challenges that are there. It's a situation of what we have and what climate change is contributing to. Next slide. Then what are our problems? Our problems are we have poor agricultural productivity, which is a root cause of today's severe food insecurity and poverty. Then the challenges that we are facing are smallholder farmers. At times they receive low or erratic rainfall. I talked about this. And we have low and declining soil fertility because we are trying to improve our productivity because we are not having enough rainfall. We end up applying fertilizer so that we can improve our productivity. We do not have good investment. We do not have, we have a shortage of farm labor. We have lack of support by public institutions in terms of credit. Access to climate finance, agriculture finance is not easy, especially when it comes to, young people and in general, those that are into farming. Then even the agriculture extension services, at times they do not have subsidies that can assist them. And it becomes very difficult to access markets at times. Poor road networks, they contribute to that. So those are some of the challenges that are there. Next slide. So now the question will be, I mentioned about the challenges. I mentioned about the effects of climate change on our agriculture. How best can we adapt? That is the question. How best are we going to survive? How best can we cope? That is the question. First and foremost, I think we all agree that we need to strengthen management of water resources and promote more efficient irrigation methods and water harvesting techniques. What am I saying by this statement? By this statement, I'm simply saying that if we cannot start talking about food security issues without addressing water security issues. So if we have a good water management, this can assist us in terms of even our irrigation. We can practice precision irrigation because we want to save water at the end of it all, because remember, climate change is bringing about variations in our temperatures. It could be too hot, it could be too cold. If it's too cold, if it's too hot, it means that this will affect our water bodies. Already, because we are already in a complication, we need to save the little water that we have through precision irrigation. But also, we also need to remember that there are some types of agricultural practices that we can practice, which is the reason why I'm on this panel today to talk about climate smart agriculture. So basically, if you're talking about climate smart agriculture, we're talking about the 3 pillars of climate smart agriculture. We also have other methods that we can use, which is agroecology. I will not talk about agroecology because I'm sure someone talked about it in the previous sessions. Next slide.
Okay, let's stop here with the video, because the video was an introduction to the problems related to like climate change in agriculture and the approach of climate smart agriculture. We will go a little bit better in deep with the topic of climate smart agriculture, properly with Federica Matteoli, that is here with us. We know her before from the presentation. So Federica, the floor is yours. You can introduce yourself and go into your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Domenico, and all of you for this possibility to give me the possibility to speak in this event. I think Domenico gave me a title. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me open. Okay, so the title for my presentation that Domenico gave me was Climate Smart Agriculture from Theory to Practice. And I was very glad to receive this input from the organizers, because in many cases we see very theoretic presentations regarding climate smart agriculture. But is a pleasure for me to underline the fact that climate smart agriculture is not only theory, but is also spread and scaled up in everywhere in many countries. But let me go to climate smart agriculture from the theory. What is climate smart agriculture? I'm sure that I don't have to give you many information regarding that, because you know what is climate smart agriculture. Climate smart agriculture is based on 3 pillars. The first one is an approach that can be used everywhere in taking consideration the increasing of agriculture productivity and incomes in a sustainable way, so in the respect of natural resources. The second pillar is regarding adaptation and building resilience of people and food. So not only agriculture, but also people, adaptation of people in a context of climate change, and remove greenhouse gas emissions where possible. And I was very, very glad that the lady before my presentation gave this very important and helpful information regarding the impact of climate change in agriculture. However, the climate smart agriculture is an approach, so it is not a fixed collection of agriculture practices. What make climate smart agriculture a practice is the local circumstances. So what are the situation, the contribution to CSA objectives depend on a specific socioeconomic and agroecological context. So this is why we suggest to make, before to start any kind of activities related to climate smart agriculture, in a very advanced based analysis of what is the situation. It is an approach to help transform food system to support development and to ensure food security in a changing climate. There are triple wins, but they can be, there are synergies between the three pillars, but also trade-offs. And this depends on the situation. And climate smart agriculture try to enhance synergies, but also to reduce the trade-offs. This is why it's important to make an analysis of the situation and to make an analysis of climate change situation in a country at the field level. And in some cases, not possible to achieve all the three wins, all the three pillars. This is why in many cases we consider climate smart also practices and approaches that can achieve only two pillars. As I told you, climate smart agriculture has to be implemented. In many cases, and I will share with you some key projects for youth on climate smart agriculture, because today we are talking about youth in particular. So, but what are the 5 key actions that we suggest to make to implement climate smart agriculture approach? First, expanding the evidence base. So analyze very well what is the situation, what are the impacts of climate change at the field level, what are the normative or regulations at the government level, and what are the tools, the technologies, and the institutions capable to develop climate change actions in agriculture. The second action is to support enabling policy frameworks. What are the regulations? What are the laws regarding climate change in agriculture? Do we need to include the climate smart agricultural approach there? We need to put more laws regarding greenhouse gas emissions, the reduction or the adaptation. What are the practical laws that can support the implementation of climate smart agriculture approach and the actions, the climate actions. The third step is strengthening national and local institutions. In many cases, we have very good institutions to support the transformation of agricultural food systems to a better environment. In many cases not, so we need to strengthen the capabilities of people in the offices, in the institutions, with trainings, workshops, and to help them to develop the first, the second step, and so on. And also to help them to enhance financial options, because without money, you know, we cannot do a lot. And there are at the moment many finance support that can help on implementing climate smart agriculture. For example, the UN agencies, the GEF, the Green Climate Funds. What are the support that governments need to achieve these finance options? We can identify in expanding the evidence base and in the other actions. And the fifth step action is to implement practices at the field level. in water, regarding water, for example, what are the best practices that can help on increase productivity in a sustainable way, have a resilience and adaptation to climate change, and in some cases, reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. We can identify these practices if we have a very good spending evidence base, a good analysis of the situation, good analysis of impact of climate change at the field level. And of course, all of this process had to be monitored and evaluated. Every steps need to an evaluation to see if it is enough better developed and to achieve the goals and the objectives that we want to achieve. But let me go in a part of my presentation that I love more is the practice. And was very difficult for me to identify 2-3 examples of practices related to projects related to young and to that worked on climate smart agriculture, because there are many projects developed by institutions, local institutions, divine organization is an example, but there are many others. And so let me apologize for that, but I concentrated more on the projects developed by FAO. The first example is related to FAO private and public partnerships developed in Zanzibar archipelago for youth implementation in agriculture. In this project, the young people receive FAO trainings. Was trained many young people on climate smart agriculture, on the methodologies to adapt and to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and to increase the income. In fact, the young people reported an increase of approximately 60% of their income, and they use youth-friendly and gender-sensitive methodologies. And one result was more positive perception of agriculture. And innovation was one of the key elements developed in this project. And attention was increased on climate smart approach and to preserve natural resources and environment, biodiversity. And in fact, fostering enabling environmental was pivotal for systematic reducing youth unemployment and to rejuvenating the agriculture sector and giving the real opportunity for young people that can enable them to remain in the rural areas. The second project was related, was in Mexico. And in this case, we FAO integrated country approach for promoting rural employment in Guatemala. Sorry, the name of the project was La Factoria. This was a business laboratory for rural youth, and was developed also a digital platform to connect rural young people. FAO, in collaboration with the government and partners such as Banco Centroamericano, the Integrazione Economica, has supported around 25 of proposals in mobilizing additional technical assistance trainings on how to develop, for example, cooperatives, and all the farmers involved on that now are part of cooperatives. And because it is important to make to collaborate between farmers, and to have empowerment, to have a power to interact with governments and with international organizations, for example. To the training, the Fattoria help young people to assess local markets, build alliances, and formulate also financially viable project proposals. All the projects are based on crop and livestock production, and promote integrated farming systems and climate smart practices. And each of the youth land enterprises engage 25 to 50 families from the local communities. But FAO is not only an agency that develops projects at the field level. Over the decades, FAO has been supporting youth to strengthen, expand young people's capacities, knowledge and skills through education, training, capacity building, investments in technologies and criteria to create youth employment opportunities, with the aim to establish an enabling environment in which young people can become active agents of change in their communities and contribute to building a sustainable future, but not only in their community, but also at the international level. In fact, FAO work, an example of this support to young people to develop, empower, and to increase their knowledge at the international level is this Youth and Academia for Climate Transparency. In 2021, FAO established a special academia and youth work stream, which works to unlock the potentials and support the engagement of youth and academia in strengthening capacities of countries in the agriculture and land use sectors. For example, for the implementation of the Paris Agreement and its enhancing transparency framework, they work together with the FAO transparency team to understand the ongoing practices, opportunities, and challenges of engaging youth and academia in the transition toward the enhancing transparency framework. In 2021, they have conducted public consultations, expert group discussions, and bilateral exchanges involving more than 250 individuals. In 2022, the Academia for Climate Transparency initiative was launched in Zimbabwe as a series of capacity building activities co-designed and led by members of academia in the country. So the young people was involved not only to receive input, but also and knowledge, but also to make practical initiative to increase the potential role of academia in supporting national efforts for enhanced transparency in the agriculture and land use sectors. So in conclusion, why involve youth in agriculture to combat climate change? First, because we are going in a world where the young people are becoming a very important number at the demographic level. And also to young people, we need to mobilize young people, empower communities, and ensure future sustainability. Sorry. Second, because young people are critical system actor innovators. They can include can be included in debates, sorry, but not only. They have to be involved in the elaborations, in decision-making steps, to decide the strategies related to food system climate change. And third, the connection between older generation and younger generation is crucial, because the population that work in agriculture is old, and the succession appears to be a problem for the sustainability of the food system. So linking old generation and young generation is a key element that we need to increase to support the transformation of food systems in a climate change context. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you, Federica. It's been wonderful. The fact that you presented the activity that also FAO is doing, especially in this session, it's very important to have your contribution and also to acknowledge all the contribution that FAO is doing towards climate smart agriculture. We mentioned before, for example, GACSA, that you also led for time, and it's important to foster this translation between theory and practice. Properly for that, now we're gonna present some experiences of practice of innovation and climate smart agriculture. Let's start with one from Italy, from Giuseppe Cannavale of Bjork Farm. You will see there will be a little change in the schedule, so no worries, but in order to let Giuseppe join us, we will move a little bit up. So Giuseppe, the floor is yours for presenting the experience of Bjork Farm.
Okay, thank you very much, Domenico, and thanks also for giving me the chance to tell our story. It has been very interesting listening your stories and your experience, and I hope you will find also mine so interesting. Bjork Farm, what is Bjork Farm? I will start from what is Bjork Farm. Bjork Farm is a project founded by me and Osvaldo, my friend and the business partner, aimed at try to revolutionize the relationship between human being and food. Everything started a few years ago when Osvaldo came to my house asking for help because his father, that is a clementine and orange, I would say citrus in general producer, organic producer in Calabria, was failing. Why? The company, the farm, was not able to generate any more revenue. That's why, because the traditional sales channel, the traditional chain of the food was damaging the two most important actors of this food chain, the small producer and the final client. Osvaldo told me that the problem was mainly that his father and with him, all small producers, we discovered later, was not able to get a fair price for his job. Why? Just because the chain was composed by many intermediaries, and the same oranges, the same citrus that Osvaldo's father was selling to the wholesaler at 0.25 cent per kilo were sold later in the supermarket to the end user at €5, like more than 100 times the cost that Osvaldo father, whose name is Paolo, got for his oranges. This was a serious problem, is a serious problem. Of course, is a serious problem in a more developed market as Europe, but is a global problem. Is not related only to Italy, only to Europe. Is a problem that involves all small producers. And according to European Union, 70% of the farm in Europe can be considered small farm, from 7 to 13 hectares. The solution, we started to think about the solution. We analyzed the market, and we discovered that the problem, the issue, the challenge that Osvaldo father was facing was in truth the challenge that many small producers were facing. That is to say, being forced to accept a sales price that was not able even to cover the production cost. The solution we thought and we applied was to try to connect more directly the small producers and the final end user, thinking that this direct link, this direct connection could have saved a lot of saved and delete a lot of issues and intermediaries. In this way, we created Beer Farm. Beer Farm on today is a social marketplace who connects small producers, organic producers in Italy, and the end user in an innovative way, in an unusual way. Everyone can adopt the cultivation of the farmers directly on the platform, create their digital farm, monitoring the cultivation thanks to the updates, periodical updates farmers will send to the end users. And once the harvest is ripe or the product is ready, he can go there to collect his harvest, his products, or decide to receive the products directly from the farm to everywhere he wants in 24-48 hours. Thanks to this model, we were able to provide advantages both to the small producers and to the end users, but also to the planet. I try to explain why. For the small producers, we guarantee him a fair price. In our platform, there is no anyone forcing small producers to accept a certain price. Is the producer asking for a price based on the kilos of the fruit he want to sell to the end user, and then we provide like an address. We lead him to find the best price based on its cost and based also on the prices present on the market at that time. Second advantage for the small producers is about understanding how his sales are going, because thanks to the adoptions, he's able to monitor, to know his sales in advance. This is because the end user adopt the cultivation before the harvest is ready. So he knows in advance how much product, how many products, how many kilos he could sell through our platform, and how many kilos he has to sell finding other channel. Another advantage is to give him the possibility, the chance to link, to sell his harvest to many more clients, because these are typically very small producers that were lucky, they sell directly on the front of their farm or to weekly farmer market. But of course, these are not, this is not the right number of sales possibility to make a farm going ahead. Another advantage to the farmer is to bring him, to lead him, to accompany him into a digitalization process. Farmers trust us, they are very resistant to the change, but we realize that if we take time to speak them, to explain them, to make them understanding properly which are the advantages of digitalization of the smart agriculture we are speaking about, these actors became really very, very attentive and listening, I would say. From the other end, we create advantages, our model create advantages also to the end user, because end user got more transparency because he knows everything on the product. And in the most developed markets, customers are used not to know anything except the origin country. But we assess that the sensitiveness of these topics about information on the food they bring to their table, to their family, is increasing. The average customer wants to know more than the origin country. And thanks to this direct link, they knows more than the origin country, they knows about who, they knows about how. And we realized that they were also willing to pay a little bit more to know this kind of information. Finally, we don't create only advantages. Our model does not create advantage only for farmers and end user, but for the entire planet. Because this model creates a positive impact, environmentally speaking, socially speaking, and economically speaking. Environmentally, because thanks to this support to small farmers, we are able to save our planet biodiversity. Small farmers are the guardians of our planet biodiversity. We destroy completely the chain. The products travel less. They also save CO2. Another environmental advantage is related to the fact that we try to support only farmers who cultivate naturally through organic cultivation. Moving ahead and trying to moving also to the social and economical impact, we are certifying also them. We already certified our environmental impact. Socially speaking, we try to support them, giving them the chance to grow not only internally their farm, but to make grow their entire territory. And also economically speaking, we create an induction. I just can tell you that typically in the second year of a presence of our platform, the same farmer needs to hire new people, because the sales, of course, will increase compared to the previous year, and this create job on the territory. I just want to, I just asked to Domenico to give me this chance to tell you our model, because we found it interesting and also able to involve in the small farming support also corporates, because also corporates have a need of sustainability. And we create a direct link between small farmers and corporates. Corporate can support small farmers through sustainability project. We link them, and I always say that we steal from the richest to give to the poorest, thanks to this kind of sustainability project. In a few years, we got like 50,000 users, half of them are active. We got more than 1 million of revenues. And of course, we are focusing on growth and try to extend our model as much as possible. Our mission is always to support the small quality agriculture in a vision that is very ambitious, to create the biggest shared digital farm in the world, where everyone can be connected with a sustainable producer. In this way, we will facilitate the connection between two kinds of actors that already understood that the current way of proceeding, the current chain, the current food chain are not working and will lead the planet to the destruction. Hope to have created some curiosity to all of you. And I remain available, unfortunately not now, through Domenico for any kind of questions or support you think I can give you based on my experience and my project. Thanks, Domenico, and thanks to all.
Thank you very much to you, Giuseppe, for having done this amazing example on how to create jobs, how to smart use the digital platform to foster agriculture. This is properly in the sake of the talk of today. So it's a pleasure to have him been with us. If you want to leave your contact, you can leave also in the chat before leaving.
Of course, I will leave it.
Yeah.
Thank you to all. Have a nice day. Sorry for going.
Thank you very much. Now let's go back a little bit with Divine that will explain better the global network of Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network. This is an example of how small farmers all around the world are gathered in order to achieve the goals of Climate Smart Agriculture. So Divine, I'll give back the floor to you to focus on the network, please.
Thank you very much once more, Domenico, for this opportunity once more. I've listened to all colleagues, and actually what they said is very, very vital, which we actually have to consider when we are moving forward as far as GCSAYN is concerned. Looking into the progress made so far in the past 7 or 8 years, back in 2014, and I have to underscore that GCSAYN was set up at the same moment, the same month at GACSA, 2014 May. We've actually moved from 4 countries to 100 and plus countries so far. And one of the strategy we actually adopted was to make sure that we don't get membership fee from any farmer, because the idea or the ideology then was that when you had to approach a young person saying, please, my friend, agriculture is the way to go, he will tell you, oh, it's for the old people. Me, I want to be a medical doctor. I want to be a pharmacist. I want to be a minister or whatnot. But in the course of time, we all understood that no matter the profession we belong to or we are actually carrying on in life, we must eat. And the question we usually asked some of the peers was that, assume that everybody was becoming a medical doctor, who's going to farm? Who's going to give you the restaurant? Who's going to set up restaurants for you to go eat at lunchtime? So that's why it became some sort of a strategy and a call to action for young people to actually involve meaningfully in the process of GCSAYN establishment. Looking at as we moved forward in some years, we realized that getting a country coordinator as an individual was actually a huge challenge, because once you have maybe knock on heads, the reality is that that country coordinator is not going to continue anymore. It's not going to continue anymore. And we decided that we have to establish at institutional level. And that's why in some countries like Kenya, we have GCSAYN duly registered right there. We have registration actually at the country. Zimbabwe, we have in South Africa, we have in Guinea-Conakry, we have in Sierra Leone. And we are actually inviting everyone on this call to link up with the GCSAYN, a host institution or the country league. That's how we have been able to grow. And as I speak to you right now, we are equally having a very, very strong representation in Canada at the University of McGill University, which is one of the biggest universities in Canada and actually around the world. And here in the US, we have Canada, we have Purdue, we have Cornell, and we equally, yesterday, I just had a discussion with the leadership at the University of Arizona. They are very much interested to making sure that we collaborate. And we have not ended there. We came up with some flagship programs where we have actually ensured that no one is left behind from persons with disabilities. We have a program titled Persons with Disability for Sustainable Africa. We have in Agriculture for Sustainable Africa. We have Women in Agriculture for Sustainable Africa. We have Men in Agriculture for Sustainable Africa. Reason why we decided to get men involved was that men were actually they usually, as the head of a family, the woman will go to the farm. I mean, after all energetic work activity carried out, she brings the sales back home, and the man takes the money, goes get drunk. I'm sorry to say it, goes gets drunk, and later on violates on her rights. So that's where we decided at the level, we came up with the concept at GCSAYN, whereby to reduce or to stem domestic violence, the man himself should go to the farm and actually be able to get this livelihood improved at the local level, at community level. So the man goes to the farm, does the transformation or whatever, comes back as the woman brings 50%, the woman brings 50%, and now the marriage is going to be sweet because it's 50-50 in this dynamics. So, and it's going to stem down this domestic violence. We didn't end there. We decided to move forward because usually, of course, we all agree that there's no program on the planet Earth that actually addresses men. No, there's no program. So that's why we came up with this master program, Men in Agriculture of Sustainable Africa, which is actually working well, and you all are called to invited to join it at your various capacities. Now, we didn't stop there. We equally thought of coming up with a flagship program, and after the flagship program initiative whereby we bring all these ideologies together, all these ideas together, and that's why we've been able to set up a program we call GCSAYN Education Exchange Program. Some sort of the added value to the Malina Fellowship Program is that we are actually getting everybody on board, no matter whether you've gone to school or not, whether you've a dropout or not. We make sure that the criteria for you to be part of this mentorship program or this exchange program is simply your passion, your devotion, your commitment, and equally, of course, I won't fail to mention the fear of God, because they say the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. That's what is being said, and it's the reality. Because anything we do without the creator being at the forefront, we're just messing up. That's what I would say. Be it a Muslim, be it a Christian, we have the Bible, we have the Quran, and I always say it. If we don't trust in our fellow men or brothers by us, it's not God we're going to trust, because we have never seen God. So God is in us, it's us people. So we need to make sure that the way we treat people is very, very important. And then we move forward. Now, at the institutional level, we have a Center of Excellencies in Kenya. We have in Nigeria, where University of Nigeria is actually hosting that program. So we are very, very happy. We didn't stop at this stage. We realized that young people equally need health, that we cannot be talking of food systems, cannot be talking of nutrition security or food security without addressing the impact of health. That's why at the level of GCSAYN, we've developed another agenda, a health for agriculture. Health for agriculture, which is being led by medical doctors, medical health practitioners, nursing, be it whatever level of education at the health level, you are part of this. So we call it health for agriculture. We are trying to address the nexus, health, agriculture, and of course, unemployment of young people, meaning that this is going to give a lot of opportunity, job opportunities for people to be able to be part of this agenda. So we have actually come up, and we are very, very passionate and happy, excited to tell you that we didn't end there. We looked at ICT. because I look at my brother, actually the theme of his meeting is 0.2 or 2.0, which is actually has to do with ICT. So we moved on the program, we actually entitled ICT Agro Code Expo, which has to do ICT for agriculture, whereby we have a very strong member, committee member in GCSAYN based in Tanzania in the name of Placido, who was actually a banker. Of course, he was working for the UBA. He decided to resign and he has developed an application to inform the smallholder farmers. So lastly but not the least, we came up with another program we called the African Youth SDG Training, whereby we domesticate the SDG in local languages. Of course, I have to underscore and make it very clear that the SDG process, GCSAYN was fully involved. In my person, I was the only young person, I was the only Black, working with the UN headquarters to design and develop the SDGs you outline today. So it's to tell you that we are very, very experienced in what we're doing. And that's why wherever we move with the SDGs on our neck. We believe in the SDGs. All the business guys for GCSAYN members, that the SDGs, the something goes right behind right there. So we really trust what we're doing. And happily, we are moving forward. We are making progress. And we really call everybody to action. We have 8 years to achieve the SDGs. What are you doing in your community to make sure that we achieve these SDGs? What are you doing in your own household to make sure we achieve the SDGs? So this is actually the concept which you have. This is actually the ideology which you have. And I think with this, I'm going to give the floor to my brother because I see he's already warming up to stop me. But I say I'm so passionate about what we are doing. And please, brothers and sisters, join GCSAYN in all its capacity. It's free of charge. We just need your passion. We just need your presence. We just need your ability. We just need your skill set, okay, to be able to give you the appropriate platform to operate on. And that's why, to sum up, sir, we are equally ECOSOC consultative statute, yes, meaning that we have the liability, we have the right to attend all UN meetings and UN headquarters, all the UN headquarters, all UN meetings. We are equally UNCCD. We are now working together, UNCBD. Of course, we are working towards COP15, where we are going to be leading the youth process and the youth events in Canada very soon. So we have a lot of events. I wouldn't continue because my brother, other speakers have to take the floor, and I'm sure members here on this call have some questions to answer or maybe to ask. I don't know. We are ready to get this done. And believe us or not, GCSAYN is going to be more than a region. Now, for you to get a visa to go in the country, they'll ask you. You say you are doing development. Are you part of GCSAYN? Once you say no, they say visa rejected. We know prejudice. Bye. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Nyokam. Again, amazing your talk and your passion, and it's an honor, like to have also in Italy a chapter of the network, and I'm glad that we can like spread the voice on the activity that the network is doing. So now let's go ahead with the speakers. Today we want to showcase different example on also innovation, as I said before. Let's go back to Italy properly. I will give the floor to Eleonora Copparoni from Social Innovation Teams that is going to showcase some of the activity that this social entrepreneur network, that is a social innovation team, is doing properly in agriculture. So Eleonora, it's a pleasure to have you here. The floor's to you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me too, and good evening to everyone. I'm gonna share the slides. Just a moment. I think you can see them now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Should be better now. Okay, so yeah, I'm Eleonora Copparoni, and I'm Partnership and Fundraising Manager in Social Innovation Teams. And I'm also responsible of special projects in Social Innovation Teams. That means that when we develop a project with a partner or with a grant we receive, I usually coordinate these activities. Social Innovation Teams is a non-profit community. Our main activity is support startups with social or environmental impact. and is a community of a lot of people with different experience and competencies. And so the objective is to launch and support innovative projects and entrepreneurship projects, but also to spread and promote a new approach to entrepreneurship and innovation. I just put here 2 numbers because I didn't want to bother you with a lot of numbers, but we have 60 mentor and experts. They are the blood of the organization. Without them, we could not have the startups and the project as we actually do now, and 35 startups and projects in community. I also say projects and not just startup because sometimes they are just ideas and we help them to organize and to launch their business. Here, I just put this slide to show what I'm talking about today when I talk about agri, food, and tech. So every one of you perfectly know that agri, food tech, agri-tech, and food tech are ways to put together the agricultural world with the with technology. These are just 2 examples of 2 different ways to organize. Everything is between the farmer and the consumer, and the projects, the startups I'm gonna talk now can be part of this different field inside the umbrella of agri, food, and tech. So there are going to be various, a lot of sectors inside and mentioned. Why we are talking about this? Because everyone, as already said, there is a food crisis in now all around the world, I would say. These are some of the causes, but not all. So climate change, post-pandemic crisis, international disorders that led to interruption of trade flows, and then to the rising of energy prices and commodity prices. And so the topic of food crisis, food sustainability, and food security is now becoming at the center of the discussion also in Italy, and it's not always been like this. But even though the importance of the topic is rising in Italy too, the literature about agri-food, agri-tech, and food tech startups and incubators and accelerators in Italy is poor, especially if compared to countries that with a agricultural-based economy with shortage of resources. So we talked before about some countries in the African continent, for example. Probably the literature is more than the one about Italy. So the reason are that the Italian agricultural sector was based on traditional but quite effective practices, at least until some years ago, and a conservative attitude, together with a resource-rich environment. Now, especially because of climate change, the situation is changing. So there's a need to improve also the academic activities on this. So which is the context, the Italian one? As we can see from the data between 2019 and 2021, 60.3% of Italian population suffered food shortage, and the data seem worsening. A lot of various sectors are trying to deal with this problem to manage the situation. So administration, no-profit organization, but also companies that are trying to find innovative and technological solution in the field of food sustainability. And many of these companies are startups because they are more flexible, more disruptive, and innovative. Here we have three examples. They do different activities. I'm not gonna go deeply on them, but X-Farm is a platform for precise agriculture. Cortilia is, how can I say, just it takes the product of the farmer directly at home, and 3B is a network of workers with bees and beehives. And so other data about Italy, there is a good news Italy ranked 4th in the EU for the number of startups in agri-food and tech in the period 2011-2021. But at the same time, Italy was 10th in the EU for funding raised in for this kind of startup, this sector. But there is a good news, and the good news is that the funding raised are growing, and a growth is there was a growth of 61% between 2019 and 2020. Also about incubators and accelerator, as I mentioned before, the literature is not so large, so we have to base on the data we have. We know that just 37% of incubators and accelerator is focused on one specific sector. This was studied by Social Innovation Monitor. There is a research team linked with and cooperating with Social Innovation Monitor. And every year SIM published a report on incubators and accelerators in Italy. The other 63% of incubators and accelerators call themselves as generalists. That means that they work with startups with different specialization. As I said, there is no deep analysis about how many incubators and accelerators are working specifically with agri-tech and agri-food startup, but we can say that there are between 5 and 10 specialized incubator and accelerator working exclusively on these teams in a total of 229. So not a lot if we compare it with the number of startups on the sector that are founded, are launched every year. Those are some examples of incubators and accelerators. Agri-Food Big is backed by Granarolo. There is a big company working with producing milk and milk-related product. Metropolitan Agri-Food Factory is based in Puglia. There is a southern region in which not just there are a lot of crops and fruit production, but also a lot of illegal hiring. And Food Tech Accelerator is backed by Deloitte and is specialized in food technology. And then the remaining 63% of incubators are calling themselves generalized, as I said, but they supported also agri-tech and agri-food and food tech startups. One example is Social Innovation Teams, the organization I work with, in which the 17% of startups incubated are working on agri-tech and agri-food. Which are the services we offer to these startups? Mentorship, as I said, mentor and expert are the blood of the organization. Special projects are projects in which we create groups of experts and students that work together to solve a problem or help a startup with the review of its business plan or the creation of a business plan, marketing plan, or an impact evaluation project. So everything you can think and everything is about the list that you can see in the left of the slide. And then a series of partners, so companies and professionals that offer special prices to our startups or special packages of services. You know that the mentorship is not consulting. So if the startup needs consulting, we have partners, then we can introduce and suggest to our startup. And here are some examples of our startup. One is Biofarm that Giuseppe already perfectly described. One is Humus Job. Humus Job created a network and a platform for farmers in which they can share means of production and information. And the objective is lower cost to promote legal hiring, both seasonal and permanent, especially in the west of Italy, where they operated. With them, social innovation teams made an hackathon to try to improve their services and to find new solutions to the problem of illegal hiring in agriculture that is really common, especially in southern Italy. Dromt actually is a startup working in software development for drones, and now is launching a new service, Dromt for Agriculture. And the objective is to make field monitoring simple. So with drones, they can take images, capture images with the drone, and then study them to give to the farmers information about their crops. So the health of the soil, the plant count, but also it's possible to identify areas in which there is a resource shortage, so the farmer can fastly intervene. And then we have Fudu. Fudu is a participatory e-grocery in which is the consumer that gives a vote and an opinion on the products that are selling, that are on the platform, and the platform remove the products that are not of high quality in the opinion of the consumer. So it's the consumer creating the store, the online store of Fudu. So it's a new way of creating an online store. This is all. Thank you for listening. This is my email address. I'm gonna also send you it on the chat. I hope you enjoy my description. And okay, I think I stopped the sharing, right? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Eleonora, for showcasing such amazing work that Social Innovation Team is doing and such great ecosystem that it has. I mean, we are now seeing a great example of how also the engagement of youths, engagement of new startups and technology and so on in agriculture can unleash new also possibilities of work, new possibilities of economies and local economies and so on. So thank you very much for this great presentation. Before going to the last two speakers of the session, I want to share you an initiative that the partnership is leading, especially the Tanzanian Conservation Voices in collaboration with Climate Social Forum is promoting, that is an Agri hackathon. Actually, there were Patrick Mujike today that want to present this, but unfortunately he cannot join physically. So I will present on its sake the initiative. Actually, the initiative is called Agri Tanzania Hackathon, and the idea is to promote solutions in agriculture that are dealing with creation, connection, and collaboration. We want to organize an hackathon, as Eleonora stated, that also the Friends of Social Innovation Team has done, on these topics: mechanization of farming, precision agriculture, supply chain, post-harvest, waste, wealth, and green energy in agriculture. We saw the experience of ONG Africa Esperance before, women in agriculture, and so on. And we want to invite members of teams in order to develop solutions on these challenges. Now we are making some webinar to near the path towards the hackathon that will be the 1st of November, so from 2 to 5 of November. In that chance, we invite all the participants together in team and to elaborate in a quick time some pitches, some ideas of solution in the challenges. So let's follow up also this initiative, and you are all invited to that. I will leave you the contact to participate to the event, and very glad if all of you can join to this also amazing opportunity. Now let's turn to Africa back. we have two female friends that are properly working on agriculture. We have Rita Camukule and Paulino Witi. So I don't know if Rita can speak out. Rita, are you there? Even though we can go to Paulino Witi, she's from Kenya. She is the leader of one of the organizing partners of this event, that is the Poly Foundation. And together with the Poly Foundation, they are doing a lot of activity. I'm always amazed on the amount of work that Pauline and colleagues are doing in Kenya, but also they have activities in organic farming. So Pauline, I'll give the floor to you to explain a little bit your activity.
Thank you very much, Domenico. Can you get me well?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Paulino Witi. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the founder of the Poly Foundation. So basically at the Poly Foundation, we are driving sustainability locally by promoting different ecosystem recovery initiatives, including sustainable farming. So currently we are running a project with the purpose its purpose is to enlighten and support local and rural farmers of my district. My district is called Siaya County, to adopt to like climate smart agriculture through education and collaboration in best farming practices. So when I talk about best farming practices, I'm meaning sustainable farming. So sustainable farming is a broad term for like growing food using methods that will nurture society and also protect the environment as well as give you income at the same time. So it's like it seeks to support the community health and well-being as also protecting the nature. So let me just give you some of the example of sustainable farming practices to give you the idea of what we are doing. So it's like permaculture. Permaculture is a method that is mostly used by indigenous people. Is also we have applying integrated pest management. Integrated pest management is like biological, and its examples are biological and mechanical ways of keeping like animals and insects away from your crop instead of using like agrochemicals or the pesticides that you buy from the shops. We also have agroponics or hydroponics. Is a system where you can grow fish at the same time have vegetables farm with you. And last one is organic farming. So those are just the examples of climate smart agriculture. So we are also encouraging farmers to embrace like drought resistance crop like cassava. We are basically measuring in cassava, sweet potato, groundnut, sorghum, and millet. So when you are an African, you are familiar with this. But you can always Google if you're not familiar with them. So these are drought resistant crops, and they can thrive in even though there's like no rain or long-term drought cases. Something we are also doing is like we are encouraging small-scale farming, small-scale processing of farm products, and ensuring that they do value addition to their farm products so that they don't like they don't waste them because they are rotten or they're spoiled. So this project is necessitated by the fact that the agricultural sector is underperforming due to the poor and the old farming techniques reapplied every season by the rural farmers. So you find that little or no information on climate smart farming is known by the farmers, and at the same time they are underestimating the value of these given crops. So with the current climate crisis that the world is facing, the rain patterns have also been disrupted in different parts of the country, and we are witnessing prolonged droughts. And recently our president declared drought as a national disaster. So this has affected like production of food, and so that is another reason as to why we are trying the community to adopt to these climate resistant crops. So after our training sessions with the farmer, we ensure that we always tell them the importance of environmental education, whereby we provide them with indigenous trees and just grace the whole process with fruits. So we give them grafted fruits that can also like help them in economic benefits, as much as they feel like organic farming might take long for them to like reclaim their soil back to organic level. We provide them with grafted fruits so that can take very much time, like can grow very fast, and provide them with the inputs. So yeah, that is the things we do at the Poly Foundation. You can reach out through our website, www.thepolyfoundation.com, and our email is thepolyfoundation4@gmail.com. We also have other services we provide. There this recent project that we are promoting on toximeter. Toximeter, we are developing a gadget that can measure the level of toxicity in fresh farm produce to ensure that the community people are actually taking like food that doesn't have toxins in them. So this gadget will help those in the market to ensure that their health and well-being is actually sorted. Thank you, and let me pass it on to Rita.
Thank you very much, Pauline. My name is Rita Kamkole, and I'm from Zambia. I'm a young farmer. I'm an activist for climate change and sustainable food system. So currently, I'm running a project for Seeds of Hope Foundation, whereby I'm doing first a trial to see how Seeds of Hope Foundation are going to perform in Zambia, and how they can adapt to our climatic conditions here. So if this trial is successful, I'll be multiplying organic seeds to be given to communities, to farmers, and I'll be documenting each step that I take. And these steps, I'm gonna be producing manuals that will be in our local languages, because we want to, there's so much that education plays, the role that education plays in achieving sustainable development. And I come from a country whereby a lot of small-scale farmers are in rural areas, and they have no access to social needs like education, healthcare. So mostly there's so much illiteracy when it comes to environmental health. And the common way of farming is conventional ways, while they use too much chemicals. And we cannot develop in agriculture without science. We cannot overlook that. And mostly how people are responding to extreme heat is maybe God is punishing us for our sins, and they do not see that these are the things that are caused by human, how we're interacting with nature. And this is a strategy that we're trying to create to see how we can communicate with people who are not educated. It's not very difficult. It's very difficult to translate, science into our local languages, because our education system here is mostly English, and sometimes I have difficulties in really translating information and making people understand climate change and also organic farming. So we're trying to promote, we're trying to grow the organic market, and also by the same time also raising awareness about healthy eating and how to sustain healthy environments by the end of the day, because also consumers are not really concerned in how food is produced. But the main concern mostly is is this food available? But we cannot start talking about that without putting a solution to say, we have a problem now, what can we do by the end of the day? So this is one thing that I'm doing. And also, the other thing that we're trying to promote is agri-finance, because mostly when you're starting agriculture as a young person, you need to invest something, and mine does not just come. It might take you, maybe you might invest maybe for 3 months, then you reap something. So we're trying to create a strategy in how people can access funds, because the government has here in Zambia, CDF, it's called Community Development Fund, which mostly, if you see the educational levels of farmers, they are not able to read and write and understand the requirements in English. So most of the people that access those funds, people that are able to read and write, and most of them don't do farming. And those resources are, transferred to other industries, which are really, really benefiting from this. And, agriculture is still remaining undeveloped. So we're trying to pull out a system. I'm also teaching cooperatives in how to pull their resources together. So I can give an example, like there are 10 people in a cooperative. Then every month, we were able to gather 100 kwacha, which I'm trying to convert it to US dollar, but I'm just going to put it like that. 100 kwacha, and by the end of the day, they have 1,000. For 6 months, they have someone like 6,000. What they can put that and identify one person who really wants to do something, maybe concerning chicken farming, and promote that one person. And when it starts getting a profit, it will continue so that everyone gets empowered by the end of the day. These are just baby steps to promoting young people. And you see, the employment levels here in Zambia, when it comes to, like next year, they're employing 256 agriculturists. And there are a lot of people that are still unemployed. So employment is still a major problem, whereby young people don't really have the resources to start up this venture. And we're trying to support small enterprises by the end of the day, and try to create an environment that's not based on dependency, but that's like we're trying to empower young people with a vision to become better, to build their enterprises, to say they can stand on their own. So these are many more strategies that we're trying to set up, and trying to rewire the way young people think, and trying to put out a message to say, as young people, we can do it. Even without government, we're trying to also create a channel whereby people get more involved, people get community awareness about pollution, and trying to just create a pattern where we can talk to leaders in forms of, we have communities, councillors, mayors, and how to involve them and look at community issues and how they can be addressed. Thank you very much. It's just a short presentation. My network is bad. Thank you, Vito, for the platform.
Thank you to you. Thank you to you, Rita, and thank you for joining, neither the difficulties and for also your witness. We have seen also another experience on how different practice can be engaged into the communities and how women are leading these processes. just to conclude now the session with a video that show another model of implementation of innovative agriculture that is based on the economy of care. Actually, for the ones that maybe know the encyclic of Pope Francis Laudato Si, this encyclic is not just, we can say, a religious text, but is properly a manifesto of reconnection with nature, a manifesto of reconnection with the ecology towards the economy of care. And so a group of youths even here have tried to implement this economy of care into like a model for farming. And it has been born this farm of Francesco. And I will share a brief video. Unfortunately, the colleagues are in different time zones. Someone are in Argentina, someone are in Europe, and so on. They cannot connect this time, but they shared a video that's presented the model. And I will show the video.
40 harvests left. Due to soil erosion caused by conventional agriculture practices, every year we lose 12 million hectares due to desertification. This is driven by non-sustainable agriculture practices such as steel farming, intensive monoculture, and the use of chemicals. At the same time, 80% of farmers in developing countries are smallholders, most of them women, who own less than 2 hectares of land. Despite having a key role in achieving global food security and nutrition, they are a vulnerable group who don't have the resources and knowledge to switch to more profitable and sustainable practices of regenerative agriculture.
Those injustices are simply unacceptable. This is why Pope Francis has invited youth from all over the world to take action, convening the economy of Francesco, where the farm of Francesco was born in June 2020.
10 young entrepreneurs, change makers and farmers representing 8 different countries have answered Pontifex call. We come from diverse backgrounds, have diverse experience and knowledge, but we are gathered around the same commitment, building a new economy by eliminating injustice in agriculture.
We'll respond to Pope Francis' call and address the identified injustices by developing a global network of regenerative demo farms. With the vocational educational model guided by our impact dashboard, developed by our research team. At our Farmer Francesco, local farmer and farmer-to-be are invited to be part of the farm by learning the practices of regenerative agriculture and implementing the knowledge at their own farm, such as mine here in Germany, with my little friends. Oh, that's so happy. We are currently implementing our model in President Figueiredo, Brazil, and Ibadan in Nigeria.
Implementing one demo farm, like the one I have started in Brazil, improves the context holistically. Economically, it provides for a sustainable livelihood by reducing and leveraging farming costs, by building a low-waste model, and from an environmental perspective, regenerative agriculture practice increases soil health and contributes to mitigating climate changes. Socially, it creates a hub for the education for the community, especially women and youth, which enables cooperation with one another.
To make this impact possible, the Farm of Francesco works together in planning and setting a demo farm in the local context, like here in our demo farm in Nigeria. Our team followed a 3-step impact guide to design the demo farm. Parts of the process include analyzing, firstly, the environment, the soil condition and water irrigation. Secondly, the social conditions, including the proximity to the city. And thirdly, was to analyze the other successful farmer in our area.
We are grateful to the Diocese of Assisi for the confidence and trust placed in us. Our project proposal was done specifically towards supporting a new project in Nigeria. We started closely looking with the local communities in the Egbeda local government, Gulugulu village, Oguniya village, Apoku, Ababale and Apapan, to develop an educational program together that will teach farmers a holistic approach about regenerative agriculture, management, and social skill. Through the program, we will impact around 200 farmers, that is approximately 800 families, covering around 1,200 hectares of land.
As you know from this video, Farm of Francesco is a global community of farmers answering Pope Francis' call to hear the cry of the earth and cry of the poor. We invite you to join us in responding to this very call by making our project in Nigeria and elsewhere possible in at least 3 ways. Please, if you have the means, contribute to our work financially so that we can finalize the budget for our project in Nigeria, as well as run our first global farmer community building program. Please, as step number 2, share this project with the others. And step number 3, perhaps most important, is you can take what we are doing to your local territory so that you empower the farmers from your local area, and together with them, in the spirit of solidarity, respond to the Pope Francis. Will you join us on this mission?
La Granja de Francisco.
Gospodarstwo rolne Franciszka.
La Granja de Francisco.
The Farm of Francesco.
La fattoria di Francesco.
Okay. So we have a glance of different opportunities for implementing new models in agriculture in this session. We also face what is climate smart agriculture, what different networks and different institutions are doing on this sake. And as the title wants to express, there were opportunities for youths in order to be engaged in this field that is very important also for the future of humanity, and it is in danger also by climate change. So we have small time for question, intervention, or comment from the audience if you want. So the floor is to you. Before closing the session, you can raise your hand or write in the chat if you want to intervene and to get into the discussion. I will leave also the contact. Okay, I saw Divine that is open, raising the hand. Please, Divine.
Yeah, first of all, it's not sort of a question, but it's a comment. I want to congratulate you, Domenico, and your team, entire team, and equally give a vote of thanks to all the participants who actually shaped out time to join this webinar. Very, very important and timely webinar. My regards goes to Pauline Foundation and Rita. We really want to collaborate with you guys. We've listened to what you're doing, and I'm happy because we have a strong affiliation with the female gender, because we always say, and we have always said at GCSAYN, educating a girl child is educating the whole world. Educating a man is educating the whole. So we are so passionate to seeing that women in agriculture, not women in politics this time around, but women in agriculture are leading this process. And we'll really be happy to collaborate with you guys. We have a very big program we titled Women in Agriculture for Sustainable Africa, which is being co-chaired by Mrs. Achale Mavis. I think I can see her here on this call, and Juliet Ejizie from Nigeria, Cameroon, and Nigeria respectively. I think they are very, very good to connect with, and making sure that we actually at the global level, we identify the various gaps to speed up this process. So we are very, very passionate about what you're doing, and you can be rest assured we are willing to collaborate with you full time. Really, we are very, very happy. And I think Juliet and Mavis, you can put your contacts or your WhatsApp or email on the chat box. Let they try to link up with you guys. We are very, very happy for this webinar. Domenico, I'll be happy. We'll be glad if you can multiply such activities, because right now we have just 8 years for the SDG achievement. Let's try to duplicate all these events. It's very important. And Domenico will be happy if you can share with us the outcomes of this in the key messages from each constituency. That will be helpful, so that we can take it from there and develop, integrate in our country national implementation plans, making sure that we achieve the SDGs and the Agenda 2063. We are moving to COP very, very soon. In a few weeks, we should be talking about COP 27, which is an African COP. We're looking forward to having most of us here at COP. Really do your possible best. And I always say, it's better to sacrifice. It's better to sacrifice. If you can sacrifice, you take even some of your savings and pay your ticket, go to co-op, you will never regret it. But if you feel that you have to wait for donors to keep paying your tickets, it's not going to work. Let's change the way we do things. And I really feel that some of those who are fortunate to be working, to be getting these fundings, this support from fund donors, I think that's why we are giving back to the community. That's why we're able to set up GCSAYN. And that's why we feel that it's very important for us to join efforts. So let's stop depending on donor funds. Let's work on proposals and making sure that we get grants and develop and move sustainably towards an achievable goal. Thank you very much. It was just a comment. And I want to thank everybody. Unfortunately, I have to leave you guys because it's very early here and we have to start the day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Divine, for this comment and your inputs. And sure, we will share the outputs of this webinar. And thank you also for being with us, standing also the early time on your zone. I saw also Gambia Ebrima Jarro that is raising the hand, so please.
Good morning, guys, and good morning, Domenico, for the wonderful moderation, and thank you all the presenters who have actually utilized the platform to raise awareness and also showcase what they are doing in their country. My name is Ibrahim Ajara, and I work for an NGO and also the Gambia National Soil Partnership, which is coordinated by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. I only have one question to make it quick, that is regarding the Agri Hackathon. I don't know if this program is also open to all the African countries and also open to the Gambia, or it is limited to the country that it is hosted. Thank you.
Thank you to you. No, listen, the initiative is especially for Africa, so you are very welcome to join because it started in Tanzania, but then we decided to open the participation to all the countries in Africa, and also, of course, to participants, because the solution will be for African countries mainly, but the participant can be from everywhere, and it's also nice that there could be like an international participation, say, and different teams made by different cultures also would be nice. So very glad to if you can join. And on that, I want to thank all the also co-organizer of this event. We listened some of them. Basically, this initiative has been done by Climate Social Forum, Climate Smart Youth Agriculture Network Italy, but also ONG Afrique Esperance. We heard before Charles Balogun, that is the founder and main initiator, Paulino Witty from the Poly Foundation, and Patrick Mujije from the Tanzanian Conservation Voices. Thanks to them and their synergy, it has been possible to have such a rich audience. So thanks also to my colleagues for the amazing work done. So
hello,
I don't know if, yeah, please.
I think there are a lot of questions coming in the chat regarding how one can join from a different country. How one can join the Agri Hackathon. From, like, example, how I can join the Agri Hackathon from the Gambia.
Yeah. Just I say that you can send us an email. I will send you the email address where, like, you can send, and we will keep up on the loop. We have a mailing list and a chat. Maybe I can share also the link to the chat, and we are sharing all the updates and so on. Just one moment. So you can join the chat and keep update on that. One moment. Here. So very welcome if all of you can join this initiative. We want to create like wide participation in that in order to have also like teams for developing solutions. So very welcome. You can join the chat or send me an email to participate. I don't know if there are other questions or intervention. If no, I think that we can close the session. I mean, it's been like a little bit longer than expected, but very nice because we interact, we know people, we know experiences and so on. We appreciate our wonderful speaker that I thank all. So thank you very much for joining again, and we will share the recording also with the participants. So bye to all and have a nice day. Bye.